everyone, and welcome to a special LoroSportsPod and Sportscenter show with Loro and Matt. We got a lot to talk about with the MLB Postseason, but before, we have a lot of NFL games to talk about, and then some Lakers talk today. The Lakers will take on the Phoenix Suns, along with previewing the 2021-2022 NHL season, which begins next week. So, Matt, how are you doing?
Good. Yeah, looking forward to the start of the season on ESPN and ABC.
That's going to be on Tuesday when they have opening night. We'll get to look at the Seattle Kraken. We'll talk about some exciting opening night games in the NHL because next week the NHL returns. And then the following week, the NBA returns.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Now let's talk about the first thing we're going to talk about is our Week 4 recap and our biggest takeaways. So I'll tell you what, my Week 4 biggest takeaway first was the Titans beating the Jets. What was your thoughts on that? And you can tell me what your biggest takeaway was from Week 4 of the season.
You mean the Jets beating the Titans?
Yeah, I meant the Jets beating the Titans. So, pardon me.
Oh, yeah. And why was that your biggest takeaway?
I was like, the Jets weren't supposed to win this game because the Titans were going to have a healthy Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, but they did not. I was thinking like, oh, the Titans can still win this game because of Derrick Henry, who can just run the ball, straight up the gut and all that. But I just think that it's the NFL. You just never know. Sometimes upsets can happen. That was like the Week 4 upset special right there.
Yeah, right along with the Giants winning in overtime at New Orleans. That was crazy, too. Both New York teams winning in overtime. My biggest takeaway was, and it was also my upset special last week, Cardinals over Rams. That was this is my biggest takeaway. Cardinals at 4-0. They exposed the Rams. They, at least in this game, I'm not saying the Rams have like huge flaws, but that Rams offense looked out of sync from the get-go. And credit to the Cardinal defensive play calling there. Do you know who their defensive coordinator is?
Vance Joseph.
That's right. Yeah, Vance Joseph. Yeah. Credit him for making Matthew Stafford not look that good. And, their rushing game also needs work. That's been a problem with the Rams a little bit. They've been able to rely on their passing game a lot more and their vaunted defense, but also on offense, where Cliff Kingsbury had a great game plan for offense, and they humbled the Rams at SoFi Stadium. The Rams looked out of sync from the get-go, and I do expect them to bounce back. But that was my big takeaway. Look out for the Cardinals.
Yes, look out for the Cardinals, but also let's do a couple of game recaps. So you talked about the Cardinals upsetting the Rams. That kind of surprised me by all means, but also, what was your thoughts on Tom Brady's return to New England?
Yeah, that was a good game to watch. It was a close one, and I was expecting Brady wanted to go in there and just put up 50 points on Belichick. That did not happen. I will say this. Belichick, he had a great game plan. He humbled Brady. I think he humbled the Buccaneers out there. He just doesn't have quite the team to pull off a win like that compared with Tampa Bay, which can overcome some flaws with talent on their roster. They were missing Gronk. That was another big issue. I thought they really do need a guy like Gronk out there. So we'll see how long he's going to be out for. And despite all that, the Patriots nearly won. They had a field goal there at the end that bounced off the upright. I mean, that's how close it was. So credit to Belichick and the Patriots for a great game plan and keeping it close.
It was great for the Patriots, but I think that they just came up short. But Mac Jones looked awesome out there. He's already shown that he's the new face of the franchise at quarterback, and those are my takeaways in that game. So also, you were at the Chargers and Raiders game. There was some lightning in the area before the game began, but at the same time, the Chargers pulled off. So what was your thoughts on that game?
Oh yeah, it was a great one. It was a weird beginning with I was standing in the line to get into the stadium and started to feel some rain droplets. Just figured it was maybe some overcast type rain, like nothing serious. And then saw some lightning strikes, and I thought like they might have to delay this game because I don't think SoFi is technically considered an indoor stadium, which it's not, and the NFL did delay it 35 minutes. So it's crazy. I don't know if you saw this on Monday Night Football or not, but the Raiders actually came out onto the field and they were told to go back in to the locker room. So they came out, they were cheered by a lot in the crowd. It was mostly Raider fans. And then they had to leave the field. It was pretty funny. But yeah, the Chargers came out and put a whipping on the Raiders. Went up 21-0, 3 touchdown drives, including the very first drive of the game. And the Raiders looked awful. They have a really good offense, but that first half, they looked terrible out there. Only had 1 first down, only had, I think, 31 yards or something like that of offense. Just absolutely terrible. And then second half, I thought Gruden's going to make some adjustments, and they're going to come out and throw a couple of good punches, which they did, and the momentum shifted. And you could tell that crowd, the Raider fans, were getting pretty excited, 21-14. But in the fourth quarter, Chargers clamped down again, and they made Derek Carr look pretty humble out there. And they got a touchdown with Austin Eckler, and then they sealed it with the Derwin James interception with a little over 2 minutes left. And so that was the ball game. Great win for the Chargers. Great atmosphere at SoFi. It was just excellent game. A lot of fun.
It was. And then you'll be at their game against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. That should be a tough game.
Yeah, that's going to be another tough one. Yeah, for sure. Should be a good one with Baker Mayfield coming to town.
Yeah, we'll talk about that game shortly. So let's now talk about let's talk about week 5 right now. So Thursday Night Football tomorrow, you'll get to see the LA Rams take on the Seattle Seahawks. Matthew Stafford against Russell Wilson. Oh, man, I think that's going to be a great game up in Seattle. First time that the Rams will be hearing that crowd in Seattle with the 12th man. So I'm going to go with the LA Rams in this one. And I say that because I think that they'll win by 3. I think they're going to be playing like they're pretty mad from losing to the Cardinals. But the Seahawks, I don't want to count out Russell Wilson. I mean, the Seahawks last week had a narrow win against the Niners, but it could have been a lot better for the Seahawks. So give me the LA Rams in this one.
Yep, I'm taking the Rams too. I think just like when the who did the Rams play before the Cardinals? I forget.
They played the Buccaneers.
That's right. That's right. They really smashed the Buccaneers, and I thought the Cardinals, they might overlook the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals were 3-0. I just felt like there's gonna be a bit of a letdown because you're playing the Super Bowl champs Tom Brady. That stadium was electric. I saw the game a little bit on TV. I thought there'd be a letdown for the Rams in that game, and they would be upset. Similarly, I think they're going to bounce back. I think they are going to go into Seattle, and I think they're going to get a win. I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah, it's going to be a rematch of last year's NFC wildcard game, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a great game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing Matthew Stafford go up against Russell Wilson tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then let's go on to our Sunday slate. So the first game of the day will be the Jets and the Falcons in London. The first game in London in over 2 years. I mean, didn't have it last year because of the coronavirus pandemic. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons in this game because I think that Matt Ryan and that offense is going to put up a lot of points. But I think that this game's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Falcons win narrowly.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons too. I have a little more trust in the Falcons offense at this point than the Jets. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I think it's going to come down to another field goal by Younghoe Koo.
All right. Very cool.
And then this is my lock of the week. The Patriots are playing the Houston Texans down in Houston. The Texans got smashed by the Buffalo Bills, and we all knew that. So I'm going to say the Patriots win in a blowout. And I think that Bill Belichick will have a good game plan to get to Davis Mills, and that defense is going to have a great day out there. And I think Mac Jones will have a field day against that Houston defense.
Yeah, this is actually my lock of the week too. Patriots over Texans. I think that Patriots are going to go in there and take some revenge out on the Texans for what happened last week. So, yep, I'm going with Patriots.
Yeah, and then the Texans don't have Deshaun Watson, and this team is in a mess right now.
Yeah.
So now let's
big old dumpster fire.
They are a dumpster fire, that's for sure. So, anyways, now let's talk about the next game we'll talk about next is the Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings. So, in this game in particular, I think let's talk about who needs this win more. Do you think the Lions need this win more, or do you think the Vikings need this one?
Well, I'd say the Vikings because they actually have some expectations this year. I don't think the Lions have many expectations. So I think the Vikings really need to clean up at home against a team like the Lions. They need to go to 2-3 and try to keep themselves within earshot of the Packers. So I'm going with the Vikings in this game. I picked the Lions last week to upset the Bears. I can't pick them to go on the road again and upset the Vikings here. So I'm going to go with I will be going with the Vikings. And the Lions, incredibly, they'll be done playing their divisional rivals on the road, and it's week 5. They'll have played the Bears, the Vikings, and they already played the Packers at home. So, right on the road. So
they won't get to see them until like week 18 or something like that. So
yeah.
So I'm going to pick the Lions in this game just because I don't really trust Kirk Cousins. I mean, I'm not going to underestimate him, but I feel like that Coach Campbell's due for win number 1 as a full-time head coach.
Is this your upset special?
No, it's not. I'm just saying that because I think they need this win badly.
Okay.
I feel like that I'm just not too high on the Vikings because I have concerns about Kirk Cousins, their defense. I just think that DeAndre Swift will run all over that defense. And I think that if he runs all over that defense, then the Vikings defense won't have a solution.
Yep.
So now let's talk about who's going to win between the Saints versus the Washington football team. I mean, I'm not really sure on Jameis Winston right now. If the Saints were to win, it will be because of Alvin Kamara and also Taysom Hill and the Saints defense. But I think the Washington football team will pull this off.
I think the Saints are going to bounce back from their loss against the Giants. But you're right. That loss at home to the Giants was pretty bizarre, I thought. So they need to get back. They need to get back to playing better football, and I think they can do this against the Washington football team. I'm going with the Saints.
Yeah, me too. So now let's talk about who's going to win between the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Dolphins should be getting Tua Tagovailoa back next week when the Dolphins go to Jacksonville, play the Jags in London. But I think the Dolphins always play hard with Brian Flores, but I just think that they are due for a win somehow to get on a win streak. I think they're going to get their season on track when Tua comes back. But give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one.
Yeah, I think the Tua thing is becoming a bit of a problem, and I think I'm going to have to definitely go with Tampa Bay here with a big win at home over the Dolphins. I almost picked this as my lock of the week, but I went with the Patriots instead.
All right, now let's talk about who's going to win between the Packers and the Bengals. Oh, I can't wait to see this. Aaron Rodgers against Joe Burrow. And I think that this is going to be a great game. I think both offenses are going to be great. Both defenses are not that good, so you're probably going to see a high-scoring game than what people think. So I'm going to say that I'm going to pick the Packers to beat the Bengals.
Okay, I'm going with the Packers too. I think they're on a roll a little bit here. And I just think the Bengals are kind of being they're out. They're playing really well, but I don't see them standing toe-to-toe with the Packers this week. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
So this next pick I'm going to talk about here is my upset special of the week because I really don't think that I'm really not high on Pittsburgh just because I think Ben Roethlisberger is really showing signs of slowing down. And I think that the Broncos, they're playing pretty good football. But if they lose this game, I'm not going to be shocked. So I'm going to say the Denver Broncos will win this game, assuming if Teddy Bridgewater is back from concussion protocol.
They're playing who?
The Steelers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm going with the Steelers in this game. I think the Steelers at home. I don't think Denver looked that good at home against Baltimore either. So their 3-0 start, maybe that was a bit of a chimera, and I think that maybe the Steelers will get the win just because they're at home. I think both these teams are struggling, though.
They are, but if they start Drew Lock, then that's for sure a loss for the Broncos. Drew Lock is he's just a backup at this point. He's just a bust.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about who's going to win between the Eagles and the Panthers. So I think Jalen Hurts, I still believe in him. I think that he's still the quarterback of the future of the Eagles, but I have to go with the better team. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to stomp the Eagles in this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Carolina gets the big win.
Yeah, after they got kind of blown out by the Dallas Cowboys the other day, though.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I think there. So now let's talk about who's going to win between the Jaguars and the Titans. But before we make that pick, let's talk about what happened to Urban Meyer this past week. So last week he was caught in an Ohio restaurant with a young college lady was dancing on his lap, and when I saw that video, that was embarrassing and disturbing. What was your thoughts when you saw that video?
Yep. We'll see if he survives this. The big question, I think, for me in this case is, does he have control of the locker room? He's made, ever since he hired that assistant coach from Iowa that had the racist comments, and he brought in Tim Tebow. I'm sorry. I feel like he doesn't quite understand the NFL business or the NFL locker room as opposed to a college one. Granted, this type of behavior would get you in serious trouble in college too, but there's something wrong here. And what I think what'll save him is that he seems very contrite about it. It was a really bad judgment on his part. It wasn't anything illegal, or anything like that. Super embarrassing. And just, can he regain the trust of the locker room? I think Jacksonville plays in London is it next week or 2 weeks?
Next week they play the Dolphins in London.
Yeah. So that one, we'll see if when they fly back from that game, if they still want to keep him, but I think he's probably safe for now. But that'll be another key week, is after flying back from London, what's going to happen. So I personally think he's going to survive this year. But this is dicey. Yeah. What do you think?
It is kind of dicey. You think that you're saying that he might be one and done in Jacksonville for after this season, you're saying?
Yeah, he could very well be. Yeah.
I mean, if he is one and done in Jacksonville, then the Jaguars are going to have to. They probably want to get moving to another direction. They probably would want to get in an offensive-minded head coach to kind of help Trevor Lawrence out, develop big time.
Yeah.
Because we'll see how the season goes, but I feel like that Urban Meyer to me can be the right the right person for the Jaguars.
Yeah, he could be.
Which I don't think he should be one and done. I think you got to give it time, because the Jaguars as a team are struggling right now, and I am confident that the Jaguars can win ball games so that Urban Meyer can rebuild this program.
Yeah.
But the NFL is such a different level, and to me, when I saw that, it was bad judgment, and I think he really embarrassed the whole organization. He embarrassed the team, and he embarrassed his wife and his family for this.
Yeah, the crazy part is, weren't some of his family there at the bar with him when this happened?
Yeah, he was at that bar right after the Jaguars lost to the Bengals. He went there and he stayed in Ohio because the Jaguars had a somewhat of a mini bye week.
Yeah.
And then also the Jaguars suffered big blows, like DJ Chark is out for the season. That's a huge blow to their passing game. Now they're going to have to rely on Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault to step up in the passing game.
Yeah.
So anyways, with that being said here, I picked Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans to bounce back in Jacksonville to win this game.
You think Jacksonville will win?
No, I just think that Tennessee's too good. Tennessee has their number. But if they win, it would not surprise me.
Oh, yeah. I think the Titans will bounce back, too. I don't know what happened to the Jets there with them, but I think that I think they'll bounce back and get a win against their divisional rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, the Jaguars are probably going to start off 0-6 because I think they had a tough schedule to begin, especially getting blown out by Houston. That was kind of like the welcome party to Urban Meyer. So we have to see if he's going to get the trust back in the locker room. This is something that's going to be an ongoing discussion here, but I am confident that Urban Meyer will own up to his mistakes.
Hopefully he does. He seems contrite. But yeah, I mean, that's just such a weird blunder.
That is. Now let's go on to the West Coast game. So you're going to be at the Browns versus LA Chargers game. They're coming off a very, very short week. And I'll tell you what, this Chargers team looks so much better without Anthony Lynn. And you know Anthony Lynn, well, he's now on your team as the Lions offensive coordinator. And Anthony Lynn is somewhat doing a good job with Jared Goff and also controlling the run game for the Lions. And when he was the head coach of the Chargers, he had no strategies on being a game closer.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Like with this last Chargers game, it got dicey, but I felt like they were going to hold on. And so yeah, I think they're getting a lot better at closing games out. Who do you have winning the Chargers-Browns game?
I'm going with the Chargers because I think Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind right now. And I think Brandon Staley, the reason why I think he's the right coach for the Chargers is because he's a defensive-minded head coach that knows how to close out games. That defense is so much better this year. And then when I learned that he was a former quarterback in college, he's really helping Justin Herbert develop into an elite quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think that everything's coming together for this team. I would say that they are still heavily penalized. They need to really cut down on penalties. I think they had 105 yards worth of penalties against the Raiders. So they need to be more disciplined in that way. I think that their rush defense was not good until the Raider game, which it was good in the Raider game. I mean, everything was good on defense, especially in that first half. So they need to make sure that the rush defense still keeps improving. Staley is a defensive guy. I have no doubt that he'll get that rush defense continue to improve. I think their secondary is awesome. I mean, they got beat for a couple of big plays against the Raiders in the second half, but those plays, those were just good plays by the Raiders. And I mean, no matter how good your defense is, sometimes you get beat, on a big play, but they atoned for it. Derwin James got that interception to seal it, off Derek Carr. So I think that I'm going to give the edge to the Chargers here. A narrow victory, but I think they beat the Browns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Chargers team is so much better than it was in previous seasons, and I think that the Chargers will. I think that the Chargers are so much better, and I really think that they are in a very good way. And I think the Raiders are going to be good too. I think the AFC West is going to come down to 3 teams: the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Yep. It's tough. That's is a packed division, and yeah, I still think the Chiefs are probably going to win it. I mean, they're in last place right now, but only by a game, and I think that they'll still probably win it. But the Chargers, they won in Kansas City already, so
who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah, big win. So, yep, I'm picking Chargers.
And then let's talk about who's going to win between the Bears and the Raiders. So obviously, the news just came in. I am so happy about this decision. Justin Fields, almost said Herbert. Justin Fields is going to be the guy going forward. And I'm like, Matt Nagy, you should have said that in the beginning of the season, because his obsession of Andy Dalton starting at quarterback made me think, if you keep wanting to say that, you're going to get the boot out of Chicago with Ryan Pace. This was not a good decision. And I don't like Matt Nagy, and his play calling is so atrocious. And I don't know if he gave up the play calling duties last week against the Lions. If you noticed that.
Yeah, I think that moving Justin Fields now is probably the right move, and looking forward to the new era in Chicago. I'm picking the Raiders though in this game. I think they bounce back and they get a win against the Chicago Bears in Las Vegas.
I'm going with the Raiders too. As much as I love Justin Fields, I think the Bears offense will be so much better with him under center. But still, he still has a bad offensive line right in front of him. He's going to be running for his life, but he's going to be making the throws that he needs to throw. He needs to make. The defense of the Bears is still pretty decent, but I just think that the Bears, they're not going to play well against teams like the Raiders, the Packers, but they play well against the Lions. It's the Lions, but I still believe that Matt Nagy is still coaching for his job, and I don't think he's done enough for me to convince that he's going to remain the head coach of the Bears.
Yeah.
So do you think that I wanted Matt Nagy out if the Bears lost to the Lions?
Yeah, that would have been calls for his head for sure, I think.
So I just don't – that's why I'm not so high on Matt Nagy. That's why I'm not too convinced on him. That's why I want him fired at the end of the season regardless of what the Bears do this season.
Uh-huh.
Like, the Bears' offense is going to improve with Fields, but I just want the Bears to go in a new direction.
Yeah.
Just because I want them to get a head coach that could really help with Justin Fields' skill set, and then get a GM that will really help rejuvenate this roster. This roster right now is not good.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about who's going to win between the 49ers and Cardinals. So, I mean, is it time for the Niners to begin a new era, too, with a quarterback with Trey Lance? Because Jimmy Garoppolo keeps getting hurt, and I say so. And on the Cardinals side, I love how Kyler Murray's playing right now. I think the Cardinals are a playoff team right now. But I still think that the NFC West is going to come down to the wire. So give me the Arizona Cardinals in this one. They're going to go off to a 5-0 start, and I think they're playing their best football right now.
I think so, too. I'm going with the Cardinals.
And then America's Game of the Week. Who's going to want to watch that? Jason Garrett is going to return to his old stomping grounds in Dallas as he's going to go up against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I could see this being a competitive football game, or I could see this being a blowout because of how good this Dallas Cowboys defense is. So I think I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys will get a victory here.
Me too. I'm going with Cowboys.
Because I say that because the Giants, they're not good. I mean, I know Jason Garrett knows how to work against that Dallas defense because he runs some practice plays against that defense, but I just think that Daniel Jones is going to get exposed. The offensive line of the Giants is not that great. I think Daniel Jones is going to be getting hit a lot in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough game for the Giants.
But I do think that the Giants will play well in the end. But now let's talk about Sunday Night Football. So the Bills have one loss, and the Chiefs are trying to get back on track. But it's going to be a tough game for both teams. But I'm going to hand the edge over to Mahomes and the Chiefs because Mahomes has Josh Allen's number. I know, Matt, you have something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills as my upset special, winning in Kansas City.
And why do you want to see the Bills upset the Chiefs in Kansas City?
I still don't trust the Chiefs right now. I know they had that win against the Eagles, but I just like the Bills right now. I think the Chiefs will eventually get it together. But I'm taking the Bills in this game, a big upset win at Arrowhead.
The Bills the Bills had that one loss to the Steelers, which they should have gotten 1-0, But since that game, they've been playing really, really good football.
Yep.
And I think Josh Allen's the real deal. I think he's having a really good season, and you predicted him to be the MVP of the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about who's going to win on Monday Night Football. I mean, I think both teams will play another close type of football game with Carson Wentz for the Colts, and then you got Lamar Jackson. The defense of the Colts is still really good. I'm going to say the Ravens win by a field goal.
Yep, I'm going with the Ravens as well.
Also, some other news to talk about is that the Patriots traded Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers for a 6th-round pick. What was your takeaways on that? And do you think that this was a good move for the Panthers to upgrade their secondary?
Yeah, I think they're trying to contend and they have a weakness. I think this is a good move for them.
It is a great move for the Panthers, but also some other developing news to talk about. He said that Urban Meyer just said that he said that he won't step down, and he explained flying back with the team after the Thursday Night Football game, and he said, and it was his chance to clear his head. So what was your thoughts on what he said just now?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to resign, I don't think. No,
absolutely not. So now let's talk about some baseball. A lot to talk about here. What was your thoughts on last night's American League wildcard game? And here's a question for you. With the Yankees losing to the Red Sox in that American League wildcard game, is it time for the Yankees to fire Aaron Boone?
Yeah, well, I was watching that game, and when they came out, the Red Sox, they had that 2-run homer to start things off, got the crowd, the crowd was already into it. They kept the crowd into it. And as soon as that happened, I thought it's going to be another Red Sox Cardinals World Series, isn't it? Like both these teams might just catch fire, get in. I don't know. But I think, they went up 2-0, then 3-0, then 3-1. And there was a huge momentum shift play where Aaron Judge was thrown out at home plate. That was the Yankees' chance, to keep the rally going and to overcome the Red Sox, and they couldn't do it. So I think that it's a tough loss for the Yankees there. I think they ended up losing 6-2, but with that play, it would have been 3-2, and I think you could have had a different ball game at that point. Credit to the Red Sox. They did very well. Garrett Cole looked bad. I mean, you got to go more than 2 innings, Is Aaron Boone out? I say yes. I don't think the Yankees are going to be patient with him, and I think he's gone.
Absolutely. They want to win now, and I want the Yankees to hire a manager that's had playoff experience and that will give them the best chance to win a championship. And Buck Showalter, you're on that list. And I do think that he would be a great fit to manage the New York Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got a roster built in front of him. He's built a winning culture in Baltimore and in Texas. But I feel like that he's due to experience managing in a World Series. And I think that Buck Showalter has that pedigree.
Yep.
And that's why he's my choice to be the Yankees manager if the Yankees want to move on from Aaron Boone. And I really think they should from now. I thought Aaron Boone was the right choice to manage the Yankees, but I just don't think he is, just because he's made a lot of terrible pitching decisions and all that.
Yep.
And I feel like that with Buck Showalter, he can really relate to Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Garrett Cole, Gleyber Torres. I think he would have something to work with.
Yep.
And then the Red Sox will take on the Rays. We'll predict that in just a minute here about who's going to be going to the World Series and all that. So tonight is the big night in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Dodgers will take on the St. Louis Cardinals in the NL wildcard game. But let's start with the Dodgers first. So Clayton Kershaw out for the remainder of the playoffs. Max Muncy, his injury doesn't seem to be that serious. But if the Dodgers advance, he could be coming back for the next series. So basically the Dodgers have dealt with injuries all year long, but they persevered. They still made the playoffs, but I still thought that they should have won the division.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the Dodgers, they're playing a very hot Cardinals team. And then if they win, they're going to be playing a very tough Giants team. Where they finished the season, I think, with an even record, Giants and Dodgers. And so that's a tough draw for the Dodgers, and you're going to the playoffs with Kershaw out and with Max Muncy perhaps out. Like, not quite how you want to be going in to the playoffs. So, got to take care of business tonight. Max Scherzer, they brought him in for a reason. He's got to get that win. He can't go Garrett Cole for the Dodgers.
No, you cannot. And for the Cardinals, they're starting Adam Wainwright today. And I thought that was a great choice by Mike Schilt because Adam Wainwright is really built up to pitch in big games. And also, he's just signed another extension to remain with the Cardinals until next season. And I'll tell you what, next season, it could be the last hurrah for both Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright.
Yep.
So I'm going to say my pick to win this game is I'm going to pick the Dodgers. And I say that because Max Scherzer is going to pitch a great game. I think Adam Wainwright will too, but I just think the Dodgers will win this one narrowly.
Okay, I'll go with the Dodgers in this game. I think they can pull it off. I have faith in Scherzer to get this win.
Absolutely. And then if the Dodgers win, then we'll see Walker Buehler on Friday in San Francisco.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to the Dodgers still making a deep run. So I have the Dodgers playing the Giants and then the Braves taking on the Brewers in the division series. So let's go back to the American League, who's going to be going on to the ALCS between the Red Sox and Rays. I think this one's going to be a great matchup. I'm going to say the Rays in 5 over the Red Sox.
Yep. I'm going to say, let's see. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays as well.
Yeah, we're on the same boat in this one. Let's talk about who's going to win in the ALDS matchup between the Houston Astros and the White Sox. Honestly, I have to go against the Astros because I don't like cheaters, and I don't like what they did to the Dodgers. So give me La Russa and the White Sox to beat the Astros in 5 games.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the White Sox too.
And I say that because Dusty Baker, he's not a good manager in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he doesn't go with his gut. He goes the old school way when it comes to managing his bullpen. Like he has a traditional setup man in the 8th, a guy in the 7th, and then his traditional closer. Sometimes teams can get to them. And sometimes I don't trust Dusty Baker in the playoffs.
Yep.
So that's why I give me the White Sox in this one. So I have the White Sox playing the Rays in the ALCS. And then let's talk about in the NLCS. So I have the Dodgers beating the Giants in 4 if the Dodgers move on.
Yeah, I will have the Dodgers winning in 4 as well.
And then the Braves and the Brewers. That, to me, is going to be a great series. You got 2 really good starting staffs going head-to-head. I think who has the edge in this one is the Brewers bullpen. Because I think the Brewers have better pieces in the bullpen than the Braves do, honestly. Yep. And then the Braves without Acuna, I don't think they're going to go very far without Acuna. So that's why give me the Brewers in 5.
I'm saying Brewers in a sweep.
And why do you say Brewers in a sweep?
I think they're just the better team, and I don't think the Braves are going to be able to handle them.
You don't think? I mean, they don't have Acuna. Freddie Freeman is a guy that you can't – I mean, the Braves without Acuna, I just think that the Braves are going to be better built up for next season when Ronald Acuna comes back from his torn ACL healthy. And I think that when he does come back, I think the Braves have a chance to go far.
Yep.
And then my NLCS pick is the Dodgers and the Brewers. And my pick is the Dodgers in 7 over the Brewers.
Oh, yeah. I'll take the Dodgers in 6 over the Brewers.
The reason why I say 7 is because it's going to be like 2018 all over again when the Dodgers play the Brewers in the playoffs. And then in the ALCS, I have the Rays playing the White Sox, and I have the White Sox in 7 over the Rays. And my NLCS MVP pick will be Walker Buehler. And my ALCS MVP pick will be I'm going to go with Tim Anderson because I feel like that Tim Anderson will will deliver the clutch hit that is needed, and it could be a game momentum hitter for Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I'm going to go with White Sox over the Rays in 6 games.
And who's your ALCS MVP?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I picked Tim Anderson. You could also pick Lucas Giolito or Liam Hendricks.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, he can also pitch in big games too, and also for the Dodgers. Assuming that they win the NLCS, who's your pick for NLCS MVP?
You said NLCS MVP?
Yes, I picked Walker Buehler.
I'll go with Max Scherzer.
And why is that? Is it because he's going to pitch? He's going to pitch in another big spot and he'll deliver.
Yeah.
And then let's go on to our World Series predictions. So I have the Dodgers playing the White Sox in the World Series.
So do I.
And my pick will be the Dodgers in 5 over the White Sox because it's going to be at home because games 3, 4, and 5 are at home. And I want to see the Dodgers clinch the World Series in front of their fans because I feel like that they're due for that because their last 2 World Series closeout games, they lost. So that's why I want to see the Dodgers close out the World Series at home and that they do it in front of their home fans. And my World Series MVP pick will be somebody that I think is going to show up at the same time, but I might give it to – I haven't really decided on this, but I'm going to pick the guy that is going to be the one that's going to close it out, and that is Julio Urias.
Oh, yeah, good pick. I'm going to go with Corey Seager.
And why do you choose Corey Seager?
I think he'll get some clutch hits.
He will. And then I think that this playoffs is going to be great. But also talk about some non-playoff teams like the Angels, for example. I feel like that the Angels need to invest on pitching, and also I say pitching because I think that their pitching last year was still atrocious.
Yeah.
So which non-playoff team do you think can make it next year? Do you like the Blue Jays, the Angels, or the Reds?
I think that's a tough one. I don't think it's the Reds. I think it might be the Angels, actually.
Well, we picked the Angels to win the AL West this year, but obviously that didn't happen. Maybe they could next year if they have a good offseason and get.
Yeah, I'll go with the Jays because they're so close, and I know they're in the really tough division, but the Yankees, who knows? They might rebuild a bit with a new manager. I don't know. I'm not sure how long the Rays and Red Sox can keep it up. So I'll go with the Jays being able to sneak in there.
And then also, here's our burning question for baseball here. Should the Padres lure Bruce Bochy out of retirement to manage the Padres since they just fired Jace Tingler?
Yeah. Yep.
I say so because he's had the experience. He's won a World Series with the Giants, 3 of them, and then he's from San Diego, and I think he would be great for that roster, especially with Machado and Hosmer and Tatis Jr. He could really relate to them. I just didn't think Jace Tingler was not that good of a manager.
Yeah.
So now on to our NBA segment here. The Lakers played the Nets in preseason. Only Anthony Davis played 1 quarter. And then tonight, the Lakers will take on the Phoenix Suns in the second preseason game. So, obviously, we're not going to see LeBron James and Russell Westbrook play. So, do you think that the Lakers are just playing their younger guys to begin with just so that they could save LeBron and AD for whenever it's like the second to last week of the preseason?
Yeah, they might not play him at all.
Yeah, that's why I'm not watching Laker games yet until Westbrook gets on the floor and when their big three's on the floor. So the Lakers play on today, then they'll play Friday against the Warriors, and then they will play the Suns again on Sunday. So pretty much I won't be watching a Laker game until pretty much next Friday or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, do you think do you think the Lakers are going to be ready to go when they play the Warriors in a few weeks?
Yes, I think so.
So now let's talk about the NHL 2021-2022 season as the Kings. Obviously, they'll take on the Ducks, and then let's talk about our projections on who's going to be winning each division, as the NHL will be switching from the bubble divisions from back to the normal divisions. So let's start off with who's going to win the Pacific Division. So you got the LA Kings, the Vancouver Canucks, the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, the Seattle Kraken, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think who I've picked to win the Pacific Division of the Western Conference, I'm gonna say the better team right now is the Vegas Golden Knights, with a second place finish of the Seattle Kraken and the third place finish with the Edmonton Oilers, and I could see all three of them going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that the Golden Knights will win it. I'll put the Oilers second and the Kraken third. That's how I see things going down.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because, so you think that the Kraken and the Oilers will be a wild card team?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up last year's standings, because they did West, North, East, and Central, and all that. So we're going back to the original format here. So, anyways, now let's talk about who's going to win the Central Division. So we got the Minnesota Wild with the Chicago Blackhawks, the Winnipeg Jets, the Nashville Predators. The Arizona Coyotes are now moving into that division now. The St. Louis Blues, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Dallas Stars. So I'm going to pick the Dallas Stars winning the division. I'm going to pick the Colorado Avalanche winning the division, with the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild I'll pick the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild finish second and third, and I think the Winnipeg Jets just miss out.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it's going to be the St. Louis Blues, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Dallas Stars. Not in that order. I think Colorado will win, and then I think it'll be St. Louis and then Dallas.
I agree. I say St. Louis and Dallas too. I thought about Winnipeg, but this division is going to be very, very tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be so competitive. I think that the Wild will be good. I expect Winnipeg to be good. Nashville will be good. Arizona is pretty much the team looking up.
Yeah.
I just think that the Central Division is going to be good. I think who's going to come out of the Central Division for the wild card, I think it's good. I think we'll talk about wild card teams in a minute here. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So now let's go on to the Eastern Conference. So let's talk about who is going to win in the Atlantic Division. You got the Florida Panthers. You got the Boston Bruins. You got the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the two-time Stanley Cup champions, and then the Ottawa Senators, the Montreal Canadiens, the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously, they're still in rebuild mode, but I think they can compete this year. And the Buffalo Sabres, who are in last. So I think the Tampa Bay Lightning will win the division. I'm sticking with the Tampa Bay kind of thing. Boston in second. And in third place, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lightning, number one, Bruins 2, and then I'm going to go with the Canadiens 3, actually.
And why the Montreal Canadiens?
I think they're going to build off their run from last year and have another good run this year.
But the Maple Leafs, I mean, this is like win or bust. I mean, I like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, but they always choke in the playoffs.
Yep, they sure do.
And then let's talk about one of the best divisions in the Metropolitan Division. So the Columbus Blue Jackets, you got the Carolina Hurricanes, the Washington Capitals, obviously our favorite every year. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins are definitely right on their heels. The Philadelphia Flyers are good. I like Connor Hart, their goalie, who keeps them in the games. and then the New York Rangers, and then the New York Islanders, and then the New Jersey Devils. So my pick is to win the Metropolitan Division. I'm going to say the Washington Capitals, followed by the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Carolina Hurricanes.
All right. I'm going to go with Washington Capitals, then Pittsburgh Penguins, and then I'm going to go with the New York Islanders.
And why the New York Islanders? Don't you just like Barry Trotz?
Yeah, I like Barry Trotz.
So let's talk about who's going to be the wild card teams from each conference. So coming out of the Pacific Division, I have the Seattle Kraken. And also from the Central Division, I have the St. Louis Blues.
I'm going to have the Winnipeg Jets. And then I think I'll have the let's see. The Calgary Flames.
Why the Flames? Their team, like, oh, they're good 1 year. 1 year they take a step back, but is it because of former Kings coach Daryl Sutter?
Yeah.
Because you know that he's a proven head winner. Is that why you choose the Flames?
Yep.
And then let's talk about the wild card. So out of the Atlantic Division, I got the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then in the Metropolitan Division, I have the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the
the Maple Leafs and the Hurricanes. Yes, I got it right.
I go with the Maple Leafs and the Rangers.
Yes, this playoff format's kind of tricky. So basically, you got 3 division winners and then 2 wild card teams per round.
Yeah.
Per conference. That's kind of the format we got here. So anyways, opening night is coming up here. So we got the on Tuesday, you got 2 games on ESPN as the NHL's returning to ESPN. You got the Tampa Bay Lightning going up against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then the Vegas Golden Knights going up against the Seattle Kraken. So who do you have winning on opening night in the NHL?
I have the Golden Knights beating the Kraken, and then I have Pittsburgh winning.
Same here. I have Tampa Bay winning, and then I have Vegas winning. So, and then also the Detroit Red Wings don't play until Thursday against the 2-time champion Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll talk more about that next week. So, do you have any high expectations for your Detroit Red Wings this year?
I just want to see improvement. And some of the young guys starting to come up and see how they do. So that's really what I'm looking for.
What I'm looking forward to seeing how the Kings do in this season. They're going to play the Vegas Golden Knights in their home opener. Do you think the LA Kings will get a chance to win this game?
Yes. Oh, yeah. They'll have a chance for sure.
So and what's your expectation level on the Kings?
I mean, not very high. But yeah, I think that they can do a pretty good job, I think, this year.
And what's your thoughts on the NHL now moving to ESPN and TNT? Because I just felt like that NBC was kind of like, I just feel like that having it like the NBA style, having NHL games on TNT and on ESPN, I think this is good for the NHL.
Yeah, I think ESPN is probably a better sports network than NBC, and I think that they're going to have a good time on ESPN and ABC and TNT.
You ready to see some more Barry Melrose calling some NHL games on the network?
Yep, that'll be fun.
Yeah, Steve Levy's going to have double duty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit of college football here before we end this. So you got your Michigan State Spartans on. You got the big game against Michigan coming up.
Yes. Yeah, I have both Michigan and Michigan State winning this week.
Yeah, let's take a look who they play. The Michigan State Spartans football team, they're taking on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Yep.
So I love Greg Schiano. I know Bill because Rutgers is a school that Bill Belichick keeps an eye out on. So I have the number. I think that the Michigan State Spartans beat Rutgers. And then I look forward to watching Michigan and Michigan State go head-to-head in a few weeks.
Yeah.
What about Michigan? Who
do they play? I forget.
They play Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska. At the Big House or in Lincoln?
They're going to go to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay. Big game for Nebraska. They need to win. Scott Frost needs a win out there.
I think that Michigan is going to win. My question for you is: do you think if this is the year that Michigan wins the Big Ten conference?
I'm going to put it to Ohio State, but they look pretty good this year.
Yeah, this is like a make or break year for them, that's for sure. But also, let's talk about Alabama. So last week they came off a huge blowout win against Ole Miss, and they will take on Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies. So who is your pick to win that game?
Alabama. They're going to blow out the Aggies.
Yeah, that's expected. That's for sure. But also, do you think Georgia is the team to beat in the SEC? I'm going to ask that question because I think that Georgia can find a way to. Do you think that Georgia can dethrone Alabama?
I don't think so, but I think they'll win the SEC East and they'll lose to Alabama in the title game, and then they'll go to the playoffs still, though.
Yes, I think so. Because I'm looking at Alabama's schedule right now. You got Texas A&M, then you got Mississippi State, and then let's talk about Clemson. Is it time to panic on Clemson football right now?
Yeah, they've had a bad year for sure.
Yeah, DJ something. I can't pronounce his name. He has not been the guy that we expected to right now. He has had a bad year. I know it's a transition year because of Trevor Lawrence leaving. So I just think that the Clemson Tigers have just had I just don't think that this is their year, but I have no doubt in my mind that they'll be back stronger than ever the next season.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yep.
What about UCLA? I mean, UCLA is on a roll lately. They play Arizona this week. So, who's your pick to win between UCLA and Arizona? Because last week they beat Arizona State beat UCLA last week.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back and get a win against Arizona.
And do you think Chip Kelly's turning out to be the right man for UCLA?
We'll see. He's been very inconsistent.
And why do you think he's being inconsistent?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
And then Utah and USC. Who's your pick to win that game? I mean, last week USC blew out the Colorado Buffaloes, and USC's playing Utah. Who's your pick to win that?
I'm gonna go with Utah.
And why do you pick Utah?
I think USC's they don't know what's going on right now.
And do you think that they should go hire Jack Del Rio as their head coach still? Is he still your pick?
No, I don't know. I haven't looked at it that closely. There's some other names out there though that I think would be a better fit.
Yeah, the reason why I say it would be Jack Del Rio is because I feel like that he went to USC. He could really make USC a good football team again.
Yeah,
and make sure that players, high school players that want to play at USC, want to make sure that they want to continue their journey in the college level and in the NFL level. So
yeah.
Anyways, folks, that's going to do it for our show, and we'll see you all next week, and then we'll have a Week 6 preview and Week 5 recap and more.
Okay. See you then, Loro.